Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good day wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the next episode of No Dice, No Glory. Sponsored by our jobs that actually pay us money, we're coming to you not at all live from an abandoned arms factory deep under a mountain in West Virginia. We are proud to proffer to you the finest in wargaming coverage. Without any further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Hey, well, thank you very much again, Sean. And what a treat we have for you today. We are, first of all, live from Fall In, and we're kind of crossing streams here. We have, from our Canadian contingent, Matt Varnish.
How's everybody doing?
And from the tabletop, the Tactics Talk podcast of Ed and Austin, we have Ed Sales.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, we got Ed live. And right now we're at the first leg of the Ironman, looking around. Team Yankee, 70 points, but we're not really here to talk about that, nor does anybody really care. We're here to talk about Ghost Panzers and Red Banner.
Nice.
Yes, which is coming out. You should have already seen the articles we have on No Dice, No Glory about it. I'm just going to ask you guys, when these books came out, what was your first reaction?
Very exciting for me.
And why?
A lot more units available for the Germans. I felt like when Iron Cross and Enemy at the Gates came out, that the Soviets had the upper hand. And I feel like in the Kursk release, I feel like the Germans have won out in this battle of the books.
What about
Maybe
you?
Won the war in the books. For me, see, I'm mostly a desert player. So it's Africa Corps, Italians, I've got Americans, and I've got the British. So at a cursory glance, I was like, I got friends that play Soviets. Let's see what what they're going to pull on me. And then I had to look at some of the German stuff, knowing that, Panthers were going to be in there. And it's the Germans are finally fully in. The Germans are here.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Fully here.
So let's go. Let's give you a high level. We're not going deep into anything here. We don't want to take away from some of our writers that are doing great work on the articles. So it's usually like most books. But one of the first things I noticed, too, when you look at a Ghost Panzer force, that part of the force is from Iron Cross. That the two books really are paired together, and you can build a force from that. So it really kind of takes advantage of 42 and 43 with some really good flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't take an infantry formation out of this new book. So to do that, you have to be
A pure infantry formation.
correct. So you have to refer to Iron Cross and be able to run that.
And does the again, as a non-Russian player, as a non-communist player, does the same apply for the Russians? Pardon my not having looked at the latest Russian.
I'm also a non-Russian player. I didn't dive that deep into it. I would imagine, based on some comments I've seen, that it is going to be the same way for the Russians.
It ought to be. I mean, yeah, so that's good.
You were talking about the force chart. Another thing I noticed in these new books is you can't take Italians as an Italian formation. In Iron Cross, you could take an Italian formation, but you can't do that in this book.
Yeah. Well, and as an Italian player, that would have been an opportunity for me to take an Iron Cross list using my Africa Corps, because I've got Pack 40s, I've got NEBs,
yeah.
I've got all sorts of equipment that isn't in the Africa Corps book, but is an Iron Cross. Now I don't have, some of the Italian stuff that they had on the Eastern Front, but still the ability to, I really do like the ability to kind of cross, I can have a formation from this, I can have a formation from that. It's just kind of sad though that there's some armies that seems like they're left behind, frankly.
When you say left behind, they're not going to be able to compete as much with these new curse books, right?
Right, because of course, like I mentioned earlier, as a Desert War centric player, I'm looking at some of the things, in particular with high frontal armor, that I have absolutely no chance to. I can't touch them.
Yeah.
and it's great. Take 17 pounders. Well, even that won't cut it in a lot of cases. So that's what I'm saying. The Germans have arrived. There's some other. I mean, if there's going to be some sort of up the Italian boot mid-war British list that I don't know about. But even then, what are they going to have? M10 Achilles? It's still not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the Germans arriving. And this book has 5 basic formations just in the book.
Yeah.
You got your mixed Panzer company, your Tiger heavy tank company, a Panther company. People have been waiting for those. And a Stug assault 3-gun company.
I know people have been waiting for the Stugs.
Yeah. And, we're going to get him to how to use a
microphone. Yeah.
So, and here's what a lot of people have been waiting for, the Armored Panzer Grenadier Company.
Yes.
I've been waiting for that. And then
I don't have any half tracks for mid-war, so for me it's like,
it's all good.
Yeah.
So let's just look at some of the new stuff in here I think people are going to be interested in. Is the Panther HQ, the Panther Company. Panthers are pricey, 18 points each.
It should be pricey.
Yeah, and then
Given the stats.
yeah, nobody can hear you there, Matt. Yeah, hold on. We're getting some technical difficulties. Ed, did you turn yours off?
Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway,
good?
huh?
Am I good?
You're good.
All right.
But I mean, 18 points each. Front armor 9 instead of 10
Yeah.
from the other book, but it has a AT 14 gun. The old 7.5
Yeah.
L70.
And none of that should be a surprise from version 3. So
No.
far, so good.
But you notice too, they're hit on 3-ups,
Yeah.
and their skill rating is green because it was a new tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the compulsory is you could do 2 Panthers in the HQ for 36 points, and then you have to take at least 2 mandatory platoons, each with
Right.
the minimum of 2, as much as 5.
Yeah.
But
Which eats into a lot of your points unless you're playing a massive game.
yeah, so I mean, like at a minimum, a Panther company of 5 tanks, 36 plus 36, 72, and then plus 18. That's 90 points you're eating up just with 5 Panthers.
However, I think I don't know if maybe it's worth going back a step when we kind of glossed over the mixed Panzer.
Well,
formation.
we're going in order in the
Okay,
book.
We're going in order of the book. Good.
So let's talk about mixed Panzer here. And mixed Panzer, we've kind of seen this before, where you have Panzer 3s and Panzer 4 lates. But with the mandatory platoons here, you could take a mix of Panzer 3 4s, and with 1 mandatory platoon, you could take Panthers.
Yeah, I think that's big.
I
That
think
is
that's where we'll
really
see
big.
it. What do you think, Ed?
I think being able to take a Tiger as a core platoon
As the third platoon.
is big.
Yeah,
Because it used to be if you're playing against a Tiger army, going, I'm going to kill everything
but the Tiger.
but the Tiger, and the Tiger is support, so I don't have to worry about it. Now you kind of do.
Yeah. But you're still looking at a big price there. So the Panzer late, I believe that they're the up armored, it's 631 with the 7.5. I mean, it's the later Panzers. You're looking at D, E, and F. Or
Not even D's, I don't think.
no, it would be E and F, right?
E, F1s, and F2s, and G's, yeah.
Yeah, they all have the big guns, so nothing has the shorty gun, which a lot of guys like for smoke, huh?
Got bazooka
And they've
skirts
got-
now,
yeah.
too.
Bazooka skirts. And if you notice, they're no longer Panzer Gray because we've gone to that Kursky era.
Yeah.
But like 2 Panzer 4 lates, which is, it's pretty much the late war Panzer 4, 27 points. So
yeah.
13 and a half points each.
Expensive.
They are. The other interesting thing is the Flame Panzer platoon, which, we talked about this yesterday. It can only flame. It does not have a main gun.
And still costs almost as much as a KV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's 15 points for 2.
It's
They're
crazy.
expensive.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's. I
When
don't
an
know.
OT-34 has, the main gun still,
Right.
in an era of,
And the KV does, too.
so does the KV, yeah.
But, I mean, here you have 2. It's like, so with the Panzer 3-4 mixed platoons, it is what it is, and we've seen it before in other books, but these are all the late versions. So they're not, you don't see up armored. It's really mixed with late Panzer 3s and 4s. There's no upgrades within each. All of the Panzer 3s have the late 5-centimeter gun.
Yeah,
all
they're
the
basically
Panzer IVs.
They're basically Panzer 3Ns at that point, I believe, right?
They should be.
Yeah.
And
What I really like
Ms.
about that formation is that finally, because it's not in the Africa Corps book, you can take the mixed bag. So if you're somebody who collects and has, I don't want all of one tank, I want it kind of like a mixed bag. This now lets you take it pretty much anything you want in a formation as a formation asset. So I think that's really good. That's really, really good from a design standpoint.
Yeah, the mixed Panzer company is really build your own formation with whatever. And I think it's neat. I think that for the most part, unless you want to take – let's talk about what's not here and in the other book is the Ds, the short CMs, the ones that aren't up-armored. So really this is your real late-war Panzer mid-war force where the mixed tank – company from previous would be the early one.
But you can also take a platoon from Iron Cross. So if you really want to get that mixed Panzer platoon in, you could.
Yeah. It's a lot to keep track of, though. I guess you're going to have to make the models different. Some of mine are. So here's the one I was most excited for that most people ask is well, let's just go back and round up the Germans. If you look here, the mixed Panzer company, you take it. It doesn't have any integral support to it. Everything in this company are tank platoons.
Yeah.
But going on to the next is the Grossdeutschland Panzer Grenadier Armored. And that a lot of folks have been waiting for. Looking at it, it is veteran, hit on 4s with the half-tracks. And let me explain now because the half-track assault is a little different.
Yeah.
So if nobody's in the half track, it assaults at 5. If you have one team, it will assault at 4. And then 2 teams, you will assault at 3. I got to tell you this, and the guys used to have these little dice, so they knew what teams were in the individual half tracks.
I know.
You're really going to have to keep track of that now.
I've seen somebody have I don't know if it was printed on MDF, but they had it on the sideboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was their movement tray, and they had the infantry on like a symbol of each half track, which I'm totally going to steal that idea for my mid-war Americans and all my half tracks.
Those trays are beautiful.
I need to get some of those
now because this formation.
You need to keep track of who's in what. You
right.
really do, and when something gets destroyed, you're like, okay, which one was that?
Oh, I had nothing but rifle teams. It's okay.
Yeah.
All my bazookas are in the other half track.
So
like magic.
So in this, your full up platoon, which is 7 MG34 teams. Comes at the 13 points, but the 3.7 mount on the half track, you have to take it. It's no longer optional. You don't pay for it. But if you notice something too is you could take these units without the half tracks.
Yeah.
So
you can do either or.
You can do either or.
I don't know why you would want to.
Yeah, I mean because you kind of already have it in other books. It's not like these guys are like fearless vets.
No, yeah, there's nothing
like
But
that.
you know what? In an era of when version 4 first came out and it was Battlefront, there's no options. There's a metric ton of options in here.
There's a butt ton. Metric.
See, I'm Canadian. That was a Canadian joke.
Yeah.
Metric tons.
Yeah, metric tons.
You know what I found out last night? Your pints are smaller than everyone else's pints when I ordered a beer.
You know metric tons are
Just
different
totally,
than imperial tons.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I didn't know pints were, and that's really most important for when you're drinking beer. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm digressing.
Yeah, well, it's always good to know about a Vorpius weight.
Yeah.
It comes with a machine gun platoon and a armor mortar platoon.
Yay.
It looks like with the machine guns and the mortars, they can't dismount.
The machine guns can.
That's right. The machine guns can. The mortars can't.
Yeah,
but you could
the
take
mortars
foot
like
mortars.
the American one, the 81s. Yeah.
And you can take an option of 4, which in most lists I usually play, I can only take 2. So the fact that I can now have to paint 2 more is going to be kind of exciting.
You have the.
But you don't have to reroll to hit, which is more exciting actually.
The Stummel gun on
Yeah.
the armored gun, and like I said, none of this is new, but it has here. You see the 7.5 stub gun. And then right underneath it in the book is the 7.5 infantry gun platoon. So
what I
it
like
really
about the
gives you
Stummel
options.
is I have if anybody remembers this, and I doubt it, the Africa Corps had 8 rads with the Stummel gun mounted on top, just a
Yes.
few of them.
Right.
And I've had those models sitting collecting dust, and now I can use them as those Stummels because
Yeah,
It's a gun strapped to a badly armored vehicle.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I love it.
And then here's a new support option, making its appearance in mid-wars, the grill,
Finally.
which there's two versions of the grill, the K and what was the other, the G, right?
Yeah.
I believe these are the Gs because I have the other ones and I use them interchangeably.
Yeah, one was mounted on the Panzer II and one was mounted on whatever that tank is, which I think is the Czech
Panzer
one.
38T.
Yeah,
38T.
38T. Moving on, just like with the grills, you can take them as just a 15-centimeter infantry gun.
Yeah.
Then you have your Panzer flamethrowers.
Yeah, they're the armored flamethrower half tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the cost, I mean,
They're expensive.
I don't think so. I fully disagree.
Here's the problem I have with that. It's that
They're easily killed.
4-inch range.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
flamethrower.
you
When there's
use-
infantry in a building, yeah.
use your other stuff to clear anything that can hurt these. Roll these up, and you have 6 of them.
Yeah.
You're going to get some of them are going to get there.
Yeah. All right, so moving forward, you have the Heavy Tank Company, which I believe through the use of the cards, you had them before. But
Did you?
these are...
No,
you
not at
haven't?
all, no. Not as a formation.
As a formation, but here it's your 29-point Tiger,
Yeah, same as before.
and you have to take 2 platoons, but you could do one in
One
each.
inch, yeah.
But, with the mixed Tiger platoon, that's how I'm going to take a Tiger platoon. I'm going to take it part of that other formation.
Yeah, the mixed panzers, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Because I think if you take this formation, I think it's going to be hard to win with, and I just think it's going to just...
I think it's in here for another reason. I think they've included it for the people who go, let's play 1,000 points versus 1,000 points, and hey, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Or you're a new player, and somebody goes, here's 4 plastic tigers, paint these tomorrow, and we're done. You
Yeah.
can play.
Yeah, that's true.
It really gets a new player in quick.
Yeah.
So here's a brand new formation. It's really interesting, and it's the 301st Panzer Battalion Radio Control.
Yep.
It's the first use of drones on the battlefield. And
of
essentially,
Thrones.
it's a Stug assault gun company. And let's talk about the Stug here. It was in the last book. You could take the Stu H.
Yeah.
And
People have been waiting for that.
people waiting. So front armor 7, side 3.
What's the gun stat, though?
Gun stats in 11 AT, my friend.
And
And
that's
it,
the sweet spot.
with the Stu H, it is a 10, 2-up firepower,
Yeah.
just like before. But let's look at the Borgvard demo carriers. They're like mobile artillery templates that go forward and blow stuff up.
Firepower is auto. And
Yeah.
I think you reroll saves or when you get hit by one too, right?
I don't know. We'd have to look at the special rules, but it's one of the features is 500 kilograms of explosive. Which,
Yeah.
what is that in America?
500 kilos?
Yeah.
Geez, that's about 1,400 pounds.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So looks like that you roll these up. The special rule is that the controlling tank has to be still. These move up. They move 12 tactical, and you set them up, and essentially it's putting I believe, a template weapon down on the enemy, and it blows the hell out of everything.
So the question everybody's going to ask is, does it blow up in the shooting step or the assault step? I.e., can you follow me then for that extra 4-inch goodness?
Oh.
That is the question.
I don't know.
Right. Again, I'm only seeing this really recently.
They can only be taken in this formation because
Yeah.
they only appear as a gray box. However, some of the command cards allow you
Yes,
to
well,
take different formations.
Yes, but the thing is that does the bomb go off in the shooting step or the assault step?
It should go off in the shooting step.
It can also be shot at and exploded
blown
too.
up.
So if you have it within your lines and they destroy it, then
Yeah.
it can also blow up that way.
Yeah.
These are going to be interesting to play with.
They're going to be fun.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be exciting.
So let's
It's going
talk.
to be interesting, which is good.
Let's talk about support options. And here's the first support option that when all of us were we have an internal staff Facebook group, and I thank God that nobody can see that normally. But this was the big holy shit everybody had is the Ferdinand Tank Hunter Platoon.
I'm actually fine with the Ferdinand Tank Hunter platoon.
Let's
not what my
go over
problem
some
was.
of the stats. It's 17 points.
Yeah, that's my problem with it.
Front armor 16.
that's my other problem with it as a British, Italian, and American player.
Side 7.
Yeah.
AT of, is that what, 1,000?
17.
This thing can't even kill one of its own from the front.
No.
48-inch range.
Yeah.
48-inch range.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... All right,
For
so
17 points.
For 17 points.
That's only how many points more than a Churchill? Oh,
6.
Burn.
12 points less than a Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it goes through like everything Battlefront does with tanks versus SP guns. SP guns are always cheaper
Yes.
because of the, it doesn't have the turret.
Doesn't have a machine gun either, I don't think.
This one doesn't because it didn't back then.
Right.
I've played the Ferdy Company back in
V3.
the Italian book,
Oh, wow, yeah.
which the Hermann Goering, they had a lot of these things. But
Yeah, Road to
going
Rome.
forward, I can't see lists where. So I'm a German player mid-war. A German player needs the what's that AT-12 anti-tank?
Martyr.
You need the martyrs, especially against these Russian lists. You need a martyr in the back line. I would say you almost need a Ferdinand in the back line because what are you paying for a martyr platoon?
16 points for 4 of them.
Yeah, four for each.
Yeah. So this is 17 points, and essentially you can put it on top of something, and until your enemy comes around
And
from
he
behind
assaults it with infantry. Yeah.
or hits you with air,
Yeah.
this thing's kind of indestructible.
Yeah.
Or another thought process, if you play a Tiger at 29 points, instead of taking a Tiger, take a Ferdinand and 3 Martyrs, you equal 29 points. And
Yeah.
it's a whole heck of a lot more firepower going down range.
Yep.
That's AT 17, 12, 12, 12.
Yeah, and you could take a platoon of between 1 and 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's a 48-inch range, so you're crossing that board with no problem.
Yeah. This is crazy.
It is. It's crazy.
I know some people are saying, holy moly. With that is the Brumbar Assault Platoon coming in at 12 points each, AT 10. Front armor 10, side 4, top 1. It can shoot as artillery, but direct fire is only a 7. Now, I believe with a 16-inch range, this wasn't the one that hit on side armor, right? Or was that
that was
that was
Sturm
a
Tiger.
Sturm Tiger, yeah.
the Sturm
Yeah,
Tiger?
it hit on top armor.
Yeah.
But you could use this as artillery. It's not the world's best artillery, but
But it's available. I
It's
know a
available.
lot of people that had Brumbar models sitting collecting dust.
and then
not
the
for
other
light
one
war.
too is with the special command card, you could take a mixed formation of Ferdinands and Brumbars.
Yeah, that's the secret sauce right
So I need to get Brumbars. Because you look at that now, that's still expensive because you still are looking at 34 points of Ferdies and 24 points plus another 136.
there. But you're getting Ferdinands as formation assets.
yeah,
That can't be
that's nothing to
underestimated.
sneeze at.
No. So in the days past of like Ed was mentioning, there's a Tiger, I'll just kill everything else. Well, now with certain formations, you can take a Ferdinand formation, so you can take 5 of them as their own formation, which is 80 something points. But taking slightly cheaper Brumbars allows you to take them as formation assets.
Yeah,
You can still take them as support, and still have a good solid formation backing with the usual suspects of armored cars.
what I'm surprised and what would made the Brumbar even better is if it direct fire.
Yeah,
It has an auto firepower, which is cool, but smoke.
yeah, smoke
Because
rounds.
smoke would have really have kept your Ferdy alive a little bit longer, with against a mobile enemy.
Yeah.
So I like this. I think this is pretty good.
Well, it's costed at 12, so it's the same as a Churchill, but it's got a different role completely. It's just let's go on to the next tank hunting.
You mean the poor man's Ferdinand, the Hornacy?
Oh yeah,
So they're 7 points each. No armor,
7 points each. Yeah.
but AT-17, my friend.
Well, it's a King Tiger gun strapped onto a Panzer IV.
Yeah.
It's German efficiency at its best. We have a bunch of Panzer IV chassis, and I don't know how they have extra King Tiger guns laying about, but why not?
I think they took them off their battleships. They didn't really need them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But 7 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fearless too.
Yeah, it's fearless.
Wow.
Here you have the Martyrs.
Martyrs are unchanged.
Martyrs are
It
unchanged.
just seems with every book they're becoming less and less as an auto pick.
But
That's to be expected. Codex creep and all that.
7.5 tank hunter platoon, which in the 5 centimeter we've seen that before.
There's, in case we don't mention it, there is a card. I think it's called Pack Wall or Pack Front.
Pack Front.
That turns them into bunkers, which is awesome.
Yeah,
It's
they're
just
unkillable.
cool. Well, you got to reroll your firepower tests. Like, what?
Yeah, I know.
I have a buddy
know.
who already has Pack 40s, and my dice rolling is so bad, they may as well already have Pack Front. Now it's, oh my God, I can't kill them.
So here's an interesting
cool.
one. Here's the 88 mounted on a Pack 40 mount,
Yeah.
which I think what's good about this, and they're 6 points each, is it's not that big AAA mount that everybody can see from miles away. These you can actually put in terrain to conceal them.
Oh, they're not large guns?
They are.
They are
were
large
saved.
guns, yeah.
They are, but I mean
But
visually see them.
looks-wise. Oh, yeah.
Right,
They're not,
three up.
right. They're not the size of a building.
Here's something I'm excited for, even though everybody says you shouldn't be. The usual recce is here, but the Lux makes its return to the
Yep.
game.
I'm really excited about that.
2 points each. It mounts the 5 centimeter.
Yep.
It's the
Or 2 centimeter.
2 centimeter gun that's AT5 that they had laying about from Panzer IIs and 8 Rads and whatever other vehicles had them.
No.
A lot of vehicles had that gun.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So these are 2 points each. How much is a Stuart?
2 points.
Yeah, and you get a much better gun.
You're getting, you're harder to hit, but you're dealing with a
And your skill is
reluctant
better. Yeah.
motivation.
Did you ever? We talked about World of Tanks before. Did you guys ever play with the Lux?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
all the time.
So the resolution of my computer was so fast, I was like flying through that Italian one where they had the the thing,
I know.
and I got nauseous.
Really?
It was moving that fast.
Well,
yeah.
because you're going 70 clicks an hour.
Yeah. So here's something I am glad it's returned, and I'm going to say this. I think this is returned at a discount. Is the Wespen Hummel artillery battery?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely coming back at a discount.
The 3 Wesps 11 points, 3 Hummels 16 points. I think percentage-wise, and somebody will do the math and call me a moron. Well, no, it's roughly the same, but I got to tell you, I like my German mobile artillery.
Wesps can't be pinned like Nebs and other guns can.
Right.
They can move.
Direct fire.
They can, There's a lot of things they can do that other things can't.
The only thing with the Hummels is their direct fire has been dropped in both AT and range.
And
so
short,
you-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
short
you're
now.
no longer taking them as a backup martyr.
Well, I got to tell you
Yeah.
this. If it was up to these guys to use for AT, I mean, back in the other, what was their anti-tank? It was a 5, I believe.
For what, the West?
No, the Hummels.
Back, it used to be like,
For bombardment, yeah.
bombardment. Oh, yeah, 5.
Yeah, because it was a howitzer. It was the same as the 15
Well, I'm talking about the
centimeter.
direct
loader.
fire AT.
Yeah.
Direct fire was high.
So, I mean, the Hummels in version 3 to me were great tank killers.
Yeah.
I'm glad these are back. I think that they are probably because of the way artillery works against tanks. That's why you reduce them,
Yeah.
because they're not the killers that they were of tanks. But I'm happy they're back.
Mm-hmm.
You have your usual artillery, your Nebs, everything else. You have your AA, which can be with a card armored
Yeah.
instead of
now
soft
you can make
skins.
them, yeah.
That's great.
HS-129 air support, and Stuka dive bombers and tank hunters.
So let's just go back to the HS-129 only because it used to have the gun used to be ridiculous. What's the gun now?
AT-7.
AT-7.
So it's a Hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the Stuka has a better AT.
Yeah.
AT, which is
it's higher points though too. I think.
the rate of fire is 3, but
Yeah.
No, sir. The 2 HE 129s are 17 points. The Stuka tank hunters are 14 points for 2.
yeah, and I don't know why you would take the HS-129.
Yep.
That used to be one of the best.
It was the
2K.
best because it was an AT-11 gun.
And wasn't it a flying tank too?
Yeah.
It still gets flying tank, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can hit on 4, but you save on a 2-up.
Yeah. It was pretty good. And then you take that one special character,
Yeah.
and he was just killing stuff. And
Well,
so
you may see him again.
you might. We'll talk about him. We'll go into the cards. All right, let's just do a quick thing on Red Banner. And, you guys will check out these books, but a lot of it is just so you can hear our impressions. Nobody cares of some of this stuff. But, let's just go for the German book so we can wrap it up. I'm a German player. I like it because I can really now get a lot of guys complained with the first few books. I got so much stuff I can't use. There's nothing in my collection I can't use now in mid-war that I had, and I actually want to buy Brumbars, and I want to buy the Lux, more Lux. So I think the Germans have arrived in full.
Yes. Yeah, I can't think of anything mid-war that they are missing.
Panzerjägers.
Panzerjäger 1s?
I'm still waiting on them.
Yeah,
Oh,
are you
on.
going to see those in mid-war? That's
Early war.
early
I love them in
mid-war.
early war.
Good, cheap mid-level AT.
What was that, 18.9?
Yeah, but now you've got Dianas and everything. Now, here's the thing. You're right, Panzerjäger 1s are missing, and I think there's one other vehicle that I'm struggling to find the name of. But remember a couple of years ago when Battlefront, and there's a big uproar over version 4, we're reducing our SKU codes, we're doing this, we're doing that. And, and unfortunately a whole bunch of veteran players that are probably not even listening to this are either still playing version 3 or playing bolt action. But unfortunately, it's all come around. Like, everything is in there. Almost every German thing is now available in mid-war. I can't think of anything that's missing.
Fallschirmjägers.
I was going to say Fallschirmjägers.
Yeah, but we know that's probably coming as a separate book.
Do we?
I don't know.
I don't
it's
know
late
100% it's coming from mid-war.
Oh,
It's coming from late war. Yeah.
So the best thing you could do is field your
Infantry.
Fallschirmjägers and say, hey, this is
They're dropping from the sky.
Yeah.
Panzer Grenadiers.
I mean, that's something I do miss because I have Waffen SS, I have Fallschirmjägers, and I have Hermann Goering all painted up as, how they should historically.
You don't have Gebirgsjäger? Come on.
It's the only one I don't have. But in this book, it seems it doesn't make a difference,
No,
which
it
is good
doesn't.
for some players because
Yeah.
if you could find the Gerbeljägers, good luck.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
I'm just an Africa Corps player, and I'm like, man, I want some of these toys.
I want toys, but you can
I
have
want-
the toys because they're interchangeable.
Yeah, I know, but there was no Ferdinands painted up in the desert.
No, they really weren't. But they were at Kursk.
I know, but
And
as a British player, I'm like, so how am I going to defeat that?
You see, here's the thing. In early war, there was not a big technology change. In late war, there really wasn't. But in mid-war, that's where...
It's an arms race, really, in
Really?
Eastern Front.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you have a disparity with some of the list here, because to me, this Kursk force for Germans is a late war German force. You get the Panzer 3Ns, you get the H's.
You're only missing a King Tiger, really, from late war.
Pretty much. That's
Yeah.
really all you're missing. But everything else is
And Jack
here.
Tigers and such,
And
yeah.
like we were talking on the site, as a British or American player, what's missing from their TO&E that's not in the game?
Well, the
Achilles for the Brits.
Americans are missing the 57s.
Well, captured 6-pounders arguably are just that, though.
But Americans can't use captured 6-pounders, can they?
They're allied. Of course they can.
But you can take a platoon of them.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm happy. I know you're not.
Well,
I'm looking at Matt.
if
saying
I'm a
that.
German player that has Eastern Front, I'm ecstatic. But
You're not.
I've got Italians. Against some of this stuff, what am I supposed to do against that?
I'm surprised.
Assault them?
I'm surprised the Italians are not in here because the Italian Sixth Army
Yeah.
was the cause of Stalingrad being a siege. Oops.
Well, yeah.
Too soon, I know.
And in the Avante command card pack, it says, it mentions one of the cards mentions their work in Russia, but you can't take them.
Yeah. It's
this
kind of
book.
a missed opportunity, but they can fix it with a card. It's a meme, 2018, I don't know.
All right, let's talk about Red Bender.
Yeah, Red Bender.
Okay, so with this, once again, this is compatible with Enemy at the Gates. You could take a T-34 tank battalion, a Hero T-34 tank battalion, motor rifles, Hero motor rifles, a KV Guards heavy tank regiment, and Churchills, along with a recon company. Once again, interchangeable. That's like the weirdest thing, like running Lees with like Churchills. It's like Lend-Lease.
Why play British when you can play them as cheaper and better and painted a different color, right?
Yeah, so T-34 tank battalion.
This is really no surprise.
Yeah, but it's, you can take, it's mostly like the other one where your second mandatory platoon could be T-34, T-70s, or Valentines.
Well, the T-70, that was Was that in the previous book? Or am I thinking the T60?
I think it was. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, it was because everybody's waiting for the plastic one. Yeah.
So let's spoil something too. The T-34 Tank Battalion hit on 2-ups. It's a lot like the other one, but there is a special card that really buffs these things.
Yes.
And that card is the 57 gun. Brings them, you could do, out of every 3 you have, you can upgrade 2 to the 57 millimeter. It drops some range, but it increases its AT to 11.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That is a huge, and you know how many points it costs?
Was it 2 points?
I think it was 0.
Oh yeah, it was 0.
So, I think that's
why would you not run that?
The range could be an issue. I think it's overworked, right? But this one,
maybe
yeah.
Like the
So,
Crusader one.
so I mean, it's not bad. You could run 10 of these bad boys for 56 points. Once again, much like the previous. Here's your T70.
Nice and cheap.
421, nice and cheap. You're paying about 1.2 points each.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, one of the features, cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys also make the same thing too, where it has features, special rules? You can't tell the difference between the two.
God, I hate to say I wish for the days of the version 3 book where the rules were clearly the rules.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, what is this?
Yeah, it says cheap and then dual purpose gun. And I've heard guys quote features as special rules.
Yeah, like in Avanti, it's like for the Lancia, it was like, oh well, but that's a rule. It's like that's not a rule.
Did it throw
why
anybody
is it
else
there?
off when you look at the T70? There's a picture of the Panther there.
Ah, well, whatever.
So anyway, going on to T70 Tank Company. Once again, overworked, no difference. And then the Valentine, I believe, once again, the same. Hit on 2-ups. Skrill is, their skill level's green.
Yeah.
But you can also mass with the 2-pounder gun.
I think it got more expensive.
Can you not take the better gun?
3 points each.
They all got 6-pounders now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So these are the 8s.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So let's look at this thing. AT7.
Well, they're both, right?
Yeah. You could upgrade it for 1 point each to the 6-pounder.
Yeah. So you can do all or
AT10.
Yeah.
That sucks. It's overworked, no HE, no machine gun.
Again,
they're infantry assault tanks.
Yeah. Let's look at
and
now the
priced
heroes.
Right. At Canadian Nationals, there was a good amount of Valentines.
So the heroes. First thing about hero battalions, they come as trained. They hit on 3-ups, vice 2-ups.
Yeah.
They are a little bit more, around 8 points per tank, but mostly the same stat lines. And you can get T-34, T-70, Valentine in the hero version.
Yeah. So more flexibility is always nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now here is the heavy KV-1S, which comes as one mandatory KV-1S platoon, and then you can either take KV-1 or KV-1S in support. The KV-672 armor stats. It has a 18-9 gun.
Yep.
Trained, hit on 3-ups. I hate these things.
Yeah.
But, now with I don't fear them as much anymore because I see how my martyrs do. And I could get a Ferdinand.
Yeah.
They get an HQ now in this book as well.
Yeah.
Yes, they do, which is nice. They're guards, so like I said, better stats. And the KV-1S comes out to about 10 points each.
I know the purists might not like this, but if there was a KV-2 available for this...
Didn't it have the battleship turret?
Well, it looks like a barn on top of a tank, but if they had that, I'd spring for a KV-1 Army for mid-war right now. I don't know why. In World of Tanks, I love that thing.
So here we have the best British tank in the game appearing as Russian for 9 points each.
So nothing's changed from version 3 is what you're
saying. A 6-pounder Churchill.
Yep.
872. They're fearless at the command level. No, they're fearless everywhere. Look at that. Yeah. So, wow.
But with the things that we just talked about, though, that front armor 8 is no longer scary. Sorry, it's still scary to Italians minus their Lancias. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, but now, man, against some of that German stuff, it's like, wow, it'll just go straight through it.
Yeah, and these guys are slow, so they're never going to get on the side of my Ferdinand. And even if they do,
who cares?
I'm a 7 on the side, man.
Yeah.
I have 50-50 chance there.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Churchill.
17 will punch right through that 8 like it's nothing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember, you don't even get a die roll.
Yeah, my Churchills, I've used them so little, my British ones.
Looking at the infantry, once again, it's looking what's new. Now with the tanks, and this is something we're seeing in the books, that the internal support formations within the formation, the tanks are just tank platoons, but the infantry has the AT guns, it has the tanks, it has the artillery.
Yeah, it looks like you can actually take
One
a tank
unit.
platoon as core in infantry.
Yeah.
Was that way in Enemy at the Gates?
I'm not sure. I'm not a Russian player. I know they had a mixed one where one of the compulsories was.
Yeah.
But this is... No, I think they did have the T-34
Okay.
in the... But I think it might have been only the SMG one. But this is motor rifles. This is like... You can give them transports now, I believe.
Yeah.
Or is that the Moto Razdeveki?
I don't see...
They're motor rifles with no motors.
Yeah.
But you can't add the soft skin transports with the...
Yeah.
I mean, they were never armored car
No.
version. That's, you got to go to
Well, there
late war
is.
for that.
Yeah, but further in the book, there is the armored car one is in there.
You mean the recce guys?
Right. And there's a card that turns turns all the
yeah.
recce things into universal carriers, which is awesome.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
That formation for Soviets.
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of fun.
That, yeah.
120 millimeter mortar. Once
That's the
again,
same.
82 Maxim Machine Gun
Lots
Company.
of Maxims.
PTRDs. Yes, they're on a bigger base.
Yeah.
45 millimeter 76. Then we get the Guards mech. Looks like it's roughly the same. It looks you could take the Hero SMG company. These guys, of course, are they assaulted 2-ups, which is kind of nice for these guys. Hit on 3s.
Yeah, I just don't know how often they're going to actually get to assault, though.
I think they will.
Pretty easily killable.
I think they will. All infantry's killable. And I'm just going through. Here's the motorcycle. The Guards Motorcycle Battalion.
Yeah. So they could be in either vehicles or motorcycles.
Yeah, and look at the options here, too. You could
Yeah.
take them in a German half-track, an M3 Scout, or the hell is that up top? Oh, that's just the infantry. 9 points for 6 SMG teams. Also hit on assault at 2-up. These guys aren't half bad. I used to hate
think
lists like
it's-
this.
I think it's an interesting list that you can have fun with. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be real dominating. But I don't play Russians. This to me is like, man, I'm struggling not to go out and buy this right now.
Their reconnaissance platoons get spearhead and flamethrowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have we seen that before?
Not spearhead and flamethrowers,
not both.
mix, no.
Yeah, they get scout, spearhead, and flamethrowers.
So you could
Yeah.
be within 16 of the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
blitz, move an 8 tactical, and be flamethrowing on turn 1.
Yes,
That's fun.
that's a hot one.
Yeah.
Did they have half tracks with them?
No, they're
Okay.
foot mounted. Yep, they're totally foot mounted, and there are only 5 teams. It's either 4 teams with a flamethrower, or just 4 teams,
Gotcha.
and they're SMG. No, they are DPMG teams. So,
They're
which is
machine
kind of
gun
nice.
teams, yeah.
Yeah. They also come with BA-10, the 82 millimeter reconnaissance. But
Hang
let's
on.
get to the support because that's.
Yeah.
So we have the KV-8 and the OT-34 flame tanks. Seen them before.
Yep.
Geez, on this page, here's a couple of new things: the SU-76 and the SU-122.
Yeah.
Which one? SU-76, man. That is
I think it's a must take.
a direct fire 9 for Artie. They're 3 for 10 points, which is
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
Gets a bombardment now.
It gets a bombardment.
Yep.
And here's the SU-122.
And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know about the 122, but I know you can take a formation of Su-76s.
Yeah, you could take the
And
support
Su-85s.
guns.
And, yeah,
And
I don't know about
Su-122s.
the 122s as well.
And the 152s.
Yeah. So, again, the cards turned the book into, like, steroids, just like they did with Ghost Panzer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Ferdinand was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then it's like with the card, oh, and now it's formation asset. Whoa. Now that you can take formations of these guys.
Su-122, 7 points each, 5.51, AT-10, but a 2-up firepower.
And they need it against some of the German stuff.
You know 20-inch range.
Yep.
All right, here more hate is coming. The Su-152 heavy SP battery and the Su-85s.
Yep.
Now look at the Su-152. It's 7.62, AT-13, automatic firepower.
Blop.
Automatic firepower against a tank. I mean, you don't really see that.
And it's AT-13, so you hit a Tiger, he rolls a 1, it's dead. There's no roll in the firepower.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just can't think of where. Now, the only good thing is they are expensive. They're 15 points each.
And they should be.
And you can
this
only
is
field
properly
2.
priced.
But think about it. They're 2 points less than a Ferdinand.
I know, which is unkillable. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, is the auto firepower that big?
Well, that's good against a lot of things.
Yeah. Well,
when you really need something dead.
It's only got a 20-inch range, so you can kind of keep it back if it starts getting close.
And you can bombard with it.
I'm not sure I would use this for bombardment. I think it'd be a waste of 30 points.
Well, unless it's at the very end of the game and you're like, okay, now I need to bombard that infantry in that building. Sure.
So here's one of the 2 tanks I always hated is the Su-85, 5.51. It is hit on a 4-up, man.
Yep.
And I think it's probably because of the low
Americans
silhouette.
cry when they see that things like this,
Yeah.
Russians are getting hit on a 4-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can see the silhouette of the tank is so small. It is a AT-12 gun.
I love that they still have on the May Day parades to this day in Red Square, they still drive like 10 or 15 of these things. They're still working.
Yeah.
Still drive them around.
Or, you can get the conscripts to pull them.
Yeah.
Then going into the guns, you have your
plethora of guns, just like Enemy at the Gates.
Katyushas, artillery, the Sturmovik. But
awesome as usual.
And let's talk about some of the cards for the Russians. Some of the cards really buff the hell out of the Russians.
Ramming speed, anyone?
Ramming speed.
Yeah, ram attack.
Ram attack is... So
crazy.
Explain that one here for the folks that don't have the cards yet.
Well, nobody should have the cards yet.
Well, hopefully by the time, but let's look up the ram
should be
attack.
Like near the back.
Yeah, but there's all the.
Stalker. That's one of my favorite ones as well.
Read that one out for the folks.
So this is where you can take it with the Su-122 or 152 for 0 points. You are now hit on force. You are now fearless. You are now veteran.
Yeah.
For 0 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here the unit has the following ratings: plus 2 points.
Yeah.
So the card is 0 points. You just pay more.
I easily would pay that. Here's
the universal carriers that you can put your troops on. Kill one more.
We've had that one.
Ram attack. Discard this card in the movement step. So what is this? This is pick a T-34 tank.
Yep.
If the chosen T-34 tank moves into contact with an enemy tank team, roll a skill test. Ram. Add 6. This is now tanks can assault tanks, my friend.
Yep.
Well, they torpedo other tanks.
Yeah. So you can only use it once.
If you get rammed and your opponent fails his skill test to attempt to dodge a tank, he has to roll a die. If he rolls a 4 or higher, he's bailed out. If he rolls a 1, 2, or 3, the tank is destroyed.
Yep.
So you want to talk about killing Ferdinands? Throw 10 T-34s at it with a ram attack. Or just start ramming it. Just start ramming the Ferdinand with these T-34s.
Well, the Ferdinand, it's harder to actually kill it, is it not? Because I think you have to add its frontal armor to do it. I think it's better against Panthers, which are lower side armor, but really high front. And you're just like,
but only T-34s could do this.
Well, yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can't forget the Sturmovik captain guy.
Yeah.
That
which
one's pretty pricey.
as we're scrolling through this here.
Yeah, Tenacity's still there. Oh, and it's to be said, these cards are interchangeable with Enemy at the Gates.
Yes.
Unless it's for formation.
Unless it's formation or limited build or whatever, yeah.
What's the guy's name?
It's
Marishkarovka. No, Partisans. Duggan T-34 Company. God, I'm going to hate that.
Yeah.
So here is the T-34-47. It's 0 points. It's no HE on the guns.
All right, yeah, so it is 2 points each.
Oh, it is 2 points each.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully people are still listening.
Range was 28 inches.
BA-10 Armored Scout Car Regiment.
Yeah.
For all those people that love BA-10s, Scott.
Yeah, so all of the things could become...
There's so many formations in these cards. It's unbelievable.
Is this
there
the
it is.
dude?
I think that's him.
No.
That's
Here it
him,
is.
man.
Victor Maximovich.
Golubev.
Okay, he makes the Sturmovik
Ranging on 3+.
3+.
9 points, though.
It's 9 points.
That's not worth it.
What's
to me.
the AT on the Sturmovik, man?
It's the best plane because
It
of
always
the high
was.
AT.
Always was.
Yeah, it's a high AT. The bombardment of it. Yeah, so now it's ranging on 3+. I don't know if it's worth it, but it makes it. I think 15 points.
What is this? Each turn, when you would roll for reserves, roll die on a 5+, place these units in the enemy deployment area.
Yeah. You didn't read this
You
already?
did read this one?
No.
Yeah,
It's Leonid Ivanovich
Mochenkov.
Mochenkov.
Yeah, but it's only for the motor
Motor
rifle
rifle, or hero
battalion
motor
or hero motos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's worth it for 5 points to do a
Dude,
sneak attack like
yes.
And
They're
then-
basically NVA from Nam,
that. Yeah.
which I know nobody plays Nam, but they should just because of that.
You know, in the United States, unless you were there, you can't say none, but you're Canadians. I guess that works.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I can say it. What are they going to do? Invade us?
Yeah, I know.
No.
So, and the Germans, we covered most of the German ones, too.
Yeah.
So I think we've been yapping
Rattling
at
on.
our fans now for 51 minutes, so we could wrap this up. We will be back from this event. People are like, well, how come you're not talking about the tournament?
We will. It's still going on. That's why.
And
we're not talking
I
about
could
it.
give you the first one. The first game between John Beck and Max Lloyd. Max Beck won 8-1.
Yeah, French
France.
beat these Germans.
Even though
France beats these
even
teams.
though they don't really know how to score.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, we're still using the
that's
old
fine.
Yeah.
6-1. So
That's my issue with Team Yankee not being version 2 yet, but it is with Nam Book and Fate of a Nation. So
we're getting
I don't know
there.
why they just didn't. I mean, why do we got to wait till October of next year? It just makes no sense. I get it.
You could do it now if you want.
I know. I just don't know why it's not official now
Yeah.
to make everyone's lives easier. But I digress.
So what do you guys think of the new books?
Love them.
Awesome.
The command cards.
Are you
make
saying
me better.
awesome because you don't play these forces, man?
Not yet.
And I know you weren't 100% happy.
Oh, I'm definitely not 100%. The books are awesome. If these books came out when version 4 came out, people would be like, "Oh yeah, version 4, yeah, this would be awesome." Now, I don't know if it's just because it's historical, but they released the desert stuff first, and it's clearly the inferior equipment.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yeah.
Well, it goes to,
but it was historical. Like, you know what I mean?
but we are also, and let's just think about this, and this is something that we chatted back and forth, is we're tournament players, and we look at the competitiveness of a Desert Rats against all other forces in mid-war for a tournament setting, an open tournament where you can bring whatever force you want. But if you look at the books as a historical gamer that will play Desert,
I totally get that. However, in the age of the internet, when somebody comes up with a killer list out of Ghost Panzer,
yeah,
and that list makes it to some local club that normally plays historical, and the one guy starts curb stomping everyone else,
Right.
and then no one else plays the game. I think it's actually bad for the game if it's really unbalanced. I mean, everybody remember the British Armored Regiment from the Hellfire and back?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not declaring it that bad yet, but man, I'm looking at my British Army going, why would I take it against Ghost Panzers? Potentially. I mean, it's not saying they're going to always take Ferdinands, but boy, what am I supposed to do against some of this stuff with my Italians? Once my Lanciers are dead, well,
stick to
I'm
narrative.
done.
You're going to have to stick to narrative games
I
because
think we
these lists are probably not as competitive in tournaments. But once again, the focus, maybe in version 4, has been on the non-tournament players that play
Perhaps
historical narratives.
true, but
we're not the designers of the game. I think it's incumbent on them to have thought of this. I know they perhaps don't. Some other companies back in the day didn't either, like Games Workshop or Warlord Games, Black Powder, and all those things. They don't, and they're proud of it. But it's like, why lose players potentially? It seems to me that I was fine with the Ferdinand until you could take as a formation asset. I really was. Like, it was powerful and cheap, but now that you can take it as a formation, I don't know. We are going to have to, I didn't play test it at all. I'm not a play tester. I mean, we get a little bit of advanced access to it, but I'm not a play tester, so I don't know how it's going to work.
I don't know if the play testers played against a Desert Rats list with these Germans.
I know a guy, and he said it wasn't a problem in his local area, but I don't know how, he might be really good, and he was able to kill whoever was running. I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, what I can say is we need to play it. And you guys out there, if you're playing when this book comes out, remember this podcast, go on our forums and see how these lists do against, between the different books.
I've got a buddy who's got Brumbars and Ferdinands, and I'm going to be like, dude, bring it, because I want to see how do we kill it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. Ed, what do you think?
Books.
I think a couple of thoughts there. We have enough mid-war books out now that I think we can start saying this tournament is going to be Eastern Front, or this tournament is going to be North Africa. So that's a way that you can kind of counterbalance it, because I do agree with you. I think if...
Okay, so I'm a Russian player. What am I supposed to do?
Russian players have been not able to play version 4 for 2 years now.
Well, now they can.
I know, but I got a buddy of mine. It's been so long now that he's just not playing. He's like, well, I waited. His two armies are what? Russians and Finns.
Yeah.
So
Finns,
he was
and I don't think
right.
I'm ever playing them again.
That's the problem. It's like, I mean, I know they did the Armies of Late War book to kind of mitigate this happening. What happened with mid-war, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be. Look, if you were a Russian player that dropped out, now's the time to come back. Now's the time to come back.
Your lists are wicked.
Your lists are great. German players, it's great when you only have the one bad guy, the Germans, and I believe there's probably more German players than any other.
Well, they're the Space Marines, or they're the French of Napoleonics.
Yeah. So I mean, German players, I would say you're uptight. You're full.
You're done.
You got everything. You're done.
Yeah.
If you were worried about dealing with Soviet tanks with your Iron Cross book,
worry no more.
get this book, because you're not worried anymore.
Yeah. I think
come get me.
It's really good. And we're just going to have to see how the balance works out with the desert books. Because what can you add to the British and the American formations that is historical in a Sicily/Italy book that's really going to make them on par with some of this?
Boy, the ammunition in those M10s better be really shiny.
Yeah, they can shoot nuclear sabot.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, that's really what it's going to have to be.
They're going to have to be basically Jacksons. Because even if you go version 3 Achilles in Italy, that was AT-14 maximum, I think. That's not going to touch a bunch of these things.
Right.
I mean, the Ferdinand obviously not, but some of the stuff with our front armor 10.
And here's my thing. Even in the hands of a guy like Chris Jackson, there's no list that's going to win 99% of the time. You're going to have to work harder to get your victories.
But if Chris Jackson plays the undercosted potentially and over front armored potentially, like who's going to beat that? That's just my counterpoint. But anyways,
yeah, I mean it's a good point. I think we're going to have to play the games and figure some of this out.
In a year we'll know. We'll see if all the tournaments are all won by Ghost Panzer lists.
We'll see, or Russian. I think Russian lists. I fear that, and I'm a German player.
There's a lot of infantry to kill.
I feel better as a German player because I think now I feel I can not be scared of Soviet lists.
There's an answer in your book, at least.
Yes.
The British player doesn't have that. The Italian player doesn't have that. But the Germans and the Russians have answers for each other. That's at least good.
And that was my big fear is, and I looked through Red Banner first just because it downloaded faster. And I'm like, oh, man, because I don't do Russians, but I saw the German, and I have stuff I could put in my toolkit to play. But if I'm British, if I am an Italian, if I'm an American player, I'm not feeling that confidence, and I need that confidence to play.
Well, this is a perfect example. If people know me by now, they know that I don't like captured or allied stuff. And tomorrow, I'm running allied M10s with my British. I have to.
You have to.
There's nothing else that I can take. I mean, I can rationalize it in my head. They had them in Sicily. or Italy or whatever, but I have to take M10s. I don't have a choice. And anyways.
It's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Well, I think this is enough, people. This is going to be the first part of our show from here.
Multimedia extravaganza.
But once again, I think great books.
Yep. They're great books.
I am a German player. Ed's a German player. We're ecstatic.
Yeah.
Matt, I think you bring up some amazing questions that we're going to have to figure out. I really do. I think that as time goes on, I would like to see how those lists do, because I do have British. And I did want to get an Italian army, but I have to be honest with you, if I have an extra 100 and something bucks to spend, I'm buying Brumbars, I'm buying Lux. I'm not buying those Italians I want to get.
Here's a question. No. If you were Battlefront, what would you say to somebody who just spent $300-400 on British?
Thank you very much. I like to show you my Russian line. You should buy that next with your next $300-400. And there's nothing wrong with Battlefront doing that.
You can field your Churchills and Valentines as Russians.
There's nothing wrong with them doing it.
I know, but it just reminds me so much of old school Games Workshop. And that was the bad old days. But that's just me.
Why do you pick your armies? Because you have an historical interest in it, or because you want them competitive? I know the answer.
Yeah, I'm different than most people that are within 15 feet of me.
You want them to be historically...
That's why they're all desert, yeah.
You want... Right.
Like, and I have free French, for Christ's
sake. But I think I am of that ilk.
But if I go into a tournament, I have to take M10s. And even now, I'm thinking, boy, in 2 months' time, those M10s still aren't going to cut it.
Yeah, I know. But I would say a lot of guys here...
Can I take captured Ferdinands? Phil, can I take captured Ferdinands?
Yes.
That'd be great.
You take the captured tank card, assault the Ferdinand.
Yeah, never seen that work. No, really.
The captured tank?
You haven't?
Oh, my God. Canadian Nationals, it worked. There's a guy, he captured so much stuff.
The toilet's flushed in a different direction up there, too.
And our money is colored properly.
Yeah, so right, you have the Queen on it. Freddie Mercury. But
right, let's wrap it up.
I think these are... I'm happy.
I am happy, too, for those guys that play these two books.
And for part one from live from Fallen, HMGS Fallen in Lancaster, we'll send it back to Shawnee. And just remember, babe, no dice, no glory.
Thanks so much for joining the show tonight. Remember to follow us on Twitter at No Dice, No Glory. And keep the conversation going on NoDiceNoGlory.com, now featuring our own message boards. Have a great night, everybody.